Hey everyone, it's Konami and today I was feeling a little bit crafty, so I decided I was going to make myself a pair of cosplay wings. Turns out that when I went to look for the materials to make my wings, I didn't have any of the things that I needed, so I started rummaging around the house and I came up with something that I call junk drawer cosplay. And junk drawer cosplay is exactly what it sounds like. You take things that you have around the house and in the junk drawer and you make something beautiful. Today, what you're going to need to make your own cosplay wings are, you're going to need some corrugated cardboard, a much larger sheet than that. I would say something that's from the tip of your shoulder to the other shoulder, or if you're going to make a bigger project, then definitely get some bigger cardboard. You are going to need a sturdy pair of scissors, a Sharpie marker, some duct tape or glue if that is what you're doing. I actually don't have a glue gun right now. I just moved, so I don't have that. So I'm using the second best thing, which is duct tape. You're going to need a wire hanger. Pretty sure you can find one anywhere, or you could just use some wire. And the last part, this is what makes it really junk drawery, is I'm using not computer paper, but lined loose leaf 3-hole punched regular school paper. So to give you a little bit of a rundown, this is kind of the template that we're going to be using for our wings. Use this sheet of paper to represent the piece of cardboard. So the corrugated cardboard that I had kind of had a notch in it, so it kind of looked like this when I got it. There was like a little middle piece, and that's perfect for what I needed. I ended up folding it in half so that I could get a kind of even look at it, and I cut it so that both sides were even. Then I made a square with my Sharpie marker. I made a square kind of right in the middle. Then you're going to want to kind of make a chicken wing like drawing from up. Kind of like that. And then you're going to want to follow it down here, so it looks like this. And when you cut it out, you're going to want to leave this top part and this bottom part so that when you cut it out, it looks something like this with two little nubbies. So when you're done cutting that out, set everything aside and get yourself a wire hanger. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the hanger part and you're going to bend it in so you don't hurt yourself, and bend it over so that you don't poke yourself. So it's going to look like this. Then you're going to take the top of your wire hanger and twist it and do it again so it looks like this. Then you're going to want to take your wings, and you're going to take the side that's facing out and you're going to stick it right there. So it'll look, this is a scaled down version, but it'll look something like this. And you're going to want to take the top and bottom part of the cardboard and fold it up over all the pointy edges. So now that that's all finished, the fun part begins. I find it easier to turn on a show or listen to some music and just kind of go into la la land as you do this part, because it's very tedious, but the end result is excellent. And with wings, the #1 rule to follow is down and up, in, then out. So you always want to start from the inside and go towards the end, and you always want to build up from the bottom. The most important part of wings, of course, is the feathers. And I actually cheated. In the beginning, if you can see underneath these layers, I actually had cut out smaller feathers. But if you can see on this side, I cut out one feather that I used, and I put notches in it. And then for the insides, I ended up cutting it in half. And I realized this a little too late, but I realized this after I started layering. You do not see the tops of those feathers, so it's almost irrelevant. And especially since it's junk drawer cosplay, I would assume that it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So one thing that I want to stress about this, the wings to make them look like this, is just laying them down flat is going to make the wings look flat, and I see that happen a lot. What I do before I stick the wings on is I take a pen and I roll the feather up in it, kind of like this. I kind of wait a second and then I pull it out, and you're going to get a little bit of a curl. And so when you stick it on your wing, it's going to curl up, or if you curl it down, then it's going to curl down. But it'll give it a three-dimensional look, even though, yes, it is only lined paper. So what you're going to want to do is start with the smaller feathers. I used about 3 or 4 smaller feathers going in, and then I used about 4 feathers going out. And how I did that was, you rip a strip of duct tape like so, and you kind of make it into a tube, and it looks like this. And you can just put it, excuse me, you can put it on there and just kind of follow the wing itself. And I've been doing this layer by layer, and as you can tell, I was just in the middle of a layer. So cut off any excess, and there is your starting point. I'm going to end up showing you the finish of these 2 layers, and then I will show you how to finish the top. So I'm going to start curling just a couple of these just so you can see how I do it. And then for the second layer, I won't curl them, just for sake of timing. And when it comes time to actually make this pair of wings, what most likely will happen is I'm going to be using craft foam. And to emulate this look of this curled paper, craft foam has an amazing ability when introduced to heat to kind of morph itself into whatever shape you need it to. So curling irons on low settings, pens and heat guns are perfect for this very project. And craft foam may be heavier than paper, but once it holds its shape, the amazing part about it is that it will hold its shape. But again, that is kind of specific to if this were a real cosplay wing set instead of junk drawer cosplay. So, and I'm actually gonna take this layer off so you can see how I'm doing this. I'm gonna take the bigger wings, and see how I'm not completely putting them on the edge yet? The reason I do that is because I want a tapered look, so I'm going to start tapering them while I'm putting them on. And so that the very last wing that I put on there is going to be at the very tip of the tape. And then when you add your second layer, take the wings like this, or take the feathers like this, and bend them over. and you're ready for another layer. And if you notice, the way that I'm doing this is I'm alternating between the two, so I'm trying to get in the middle of the previous layer's feathers. And when you're putting your feathers on, make sure that the feather before it is underneath. If the feather lays over it, like overlaps it, that it's underneath the other feather. And so it's kind of gonna look like that. Bend these ones over. And you're ready for another layer. So do this until you get to the top, and then I will show you what to do next. Alright, so you've gotten to the top part. Now where do you finish it? Well, the easiest way to finish off this side of the wings is to take one of your big wings, fold it in half so that it looks kind of like this. You're going to want to stick it right on top. And you're going to want to do that twice. Make sure your feathers are in the same direction. So the top is going to look something like that. Then take a piece of duct tape, roll it into a tube again, or if you have glue, go ahead and do that. So you're going to have a piece of duct tape at the top. Stick it right on top of that part that you just made. So it looks like this. Then you're going to take one of your big feathers, and from this part over, you're going to want to stick it right on top at an angle so that it sits just like that. And then you bend it over. So now you have the top done. Kind of ruffle these feathers. And that part is done. Okay, so now that you're at this point in your wings, you're gonna, like I said, ruffle up the wings a little bit, make them kind of three-dimensional. And what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna take this edge, and we're gonna make it smoother. So for this final step, you are gonna wanna take a piece of paper, like this one, or your craft foam, and you're going to wanna make something that looks like this. Okay, and you're going to want to cut that out. And it is up to you whether or not you're going to put notches in this specific part. I'm not going to because I want it to look pretty clean. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to make a long piece of duct tape, and you're going to make it all the way to about right here. We're going to start here. Ooh, excuse me. We're going to start here from the bottom and work to this area right here. And so you're going to want to stick it on here like this. So probably right about there is good. And you're going to want to put it over the wings, and you're going to want to anchor that tube down. Alright, so you have this part anchored down. Now what you're going to want to do, from the outside in, you're going to want to take this part, stick it right in the middle, and bend it over. And then do it again a couple centimeters up, bend it over. And a couple centimeters up, bend it over. So it's going to essentially look like some scales, dragon scales or what have you. The reason you want to do this is to cover up kind of the parts of the wing that are kind of ragged looking, while also taking away the look of the seams that you have made while making the wings. And what's good about line paper is because you can use the lines as kind of guidelines for where you want to put the next one. And continue on with that until you reach the bottom. Okay, so your wings should look something like this. And this is where I would like to send a shout out to Verve92 on YouTube. She actually gave me the idea for this part right here. When I've made previous wings in the past, I've not had this top, and it actually looks so much better than anything I could have ever imagined before. Oh my gosh, it is super hot in here, so I'm sorry if I look a little bit like I'm like dying. It's because I am. Anyway, so this middle part, what you're gonna want to do for that is you're gonna want to take another tube. You're gonna want to cut out that. You're gonna want to stick that at the bottom. And this is where you can have, this is where you can pretty much be free to do whatever you want, because this middle part is pretty simple. I'm just taking the leftover pieces that I used from the top, and I am distributing those evenly amongst the bottom. Alright, so you've made it to the top, and for the final step, you're going to want to take one of your long feathers, bend them in half, and do that with two of your feathers and stick them at the top, bend it back, and in the back you're going to want to secure it with some duct tape. I'm not going to go any further with this pair of wings because this is a mock-up, so I just wanted to see how it would look when I used craft foam. But at this point you could loop some ribbon in the back to attach it to your costume, or if you have the loop that you can put it in a corset, you can do that as well. And this is how it looks. And this concludes this tutorial. I just want to thank Verve92 for inspiring me to make my own set of cosplay wings. And I want to thank you for watching. I'm sorry that this tutorial was so long. Hopefully my other tutorials or videos aren't going to be so long and boring. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them in the box below. Let me know if this was helpful or if there is anything I could help you with in the future. And let me know if you're going to use this in a junk drawer cosplay of your own. And if you do, please definitely post pictures on my Facebook, Konami I, or Twitter, also Konami I. And this is Konami I saying thank you for watching and hope I helped.